These are in listen-only mode.
Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Property Radar's webinar today, Ways to Use for Realtors, presented by Marguerite Crispillo, an elite trainer for Property Radar. And introducing Margaret is myself, Colleen Dalton. I'm the Marketing Communications Director here for Property Radar. And it is our pleasure to bring you this webinar today that will help realtors truly understand really creative ways to use the modules and the product to get listings, close deals, and provide highly exceptional service. So let's go take a look at Marguerite's bio here. So we're really happy and excited to have Marguerite presenting today. She has over 20 years of experience in the industry, is the owner of Sell State Realty First, one of the larger brokerage firms in the greater Sacramento area, and is an independent agent who produces at upwards of 100 homes per year and much more than that. So without further ado, I'd love to introduce Margaret and the beginning of your webinar.
All right. Well, hello, everybody. I hope that you're having a highly successful and productive day. I have to tell you, this is a great way to spend a little bit of time fine-tuning your business skills. You know, as Colleen mentioned, I've been in real estate now, well, it'll actually be 20 years this year in December. And when I first got into real estate, it was actually a foreclosure market at that time, and then the market changed pretty dramatically. And over the years, I have seen so many things kind of come and go. I've seen REOs to traditional, to short sale, to back to REO, and vice versa. And as most of you who are active agents right now in the current market, you know that one of the biggest struggles that we're having is lack of inventory, right? Inventory is just an issue, and I've told people frequently that it may sound like bragging, but if I had the inventory, I could probably sell 20 houses this week alone. And so what has happened is that we've had to start learning how to get more creative in the ways that we find business. And recently, I was able to sit with some of the most amazing people around and learn about this new product, Property Radar. Now, some of you may have been familiar with Foreclosure Radar, and this is, what did we say at that training? Foreclosure Radar on steroids. And I think that it's a really super cool product, and I'm really excited to spend some time with you today and share how this product can help you in your business and help you really boost and build your business. You know, there's a little saying that I say frequently is that great agents do well in any market. And the reason that they do well in any market is because they take the time to go out and research new and innovative ways to get business that the regular agents out there aren't doing. So let's dive into this a little bit today. We're going to spend some time going through the product and some great ways that hopefully can get you some business. We will take questions towards the end unless it's something that's vital during the presentation. So Property Radar is just simply making data work for you. It's just a really powerful product that gives you not only the data, the software, and the analytics to find the new opportunities, but to really solve real-world problems. As we talked about it, inventory is not coming. You really have to get out there and create it. The days of sitting by the phone and just waiting for it to ring and going out and selling houses is gone. Now real estate is really requiring people to put a lot more energy and effort into the way that we do things. And Foreclosure Radar had really just completely changed the way that professionals operate in the foreclosure market. It gave insight to things that we just didn't have access to before. Well, Property Radar has upgraded that service to all of California properties, and it really gives you the ability to work so much faster and make more money. The cool thing, though, is it still has all the foreclosure information, including daily updates, status, outcomes, so that you have the most accurate, up-to-date information that you can possibly get. So let's talk a little bit about some overall product highlights. First of all, it's really a super clean, easy-to-use interface with not only the ability to do it on your computer, but you can also really do it on your tablet. As tablets are becoming more and more popular and easier to use out there, tablets are the way to go. I know I have an iPad, and I'm still struggling with it a little bit, but it sure has made life easier than trying to carry around those big old laptops, open them up, take 20 minutes to power up. You remember that. The coolest thing that I've seen in it is that it has it has over 100 different search criterias, enabling you to find really, truly every single property by whatever your specialization is, whether that's foreclosures, short sales, or out there looking for investors, looking for land, your traditional clients, just a myriad of options. Now, I personally am a very visual person, so the fact that it has color illustrated heat maps that you can visualize any neighborhood, we're going to get to that in a few minutes. You're going to see how cool that is. You could really look at including equity, debt, estimated value. You can look up sales, listings, foreclosures, turnover, property type, and just a ton more. There's lots of ways to pick your geography, including things such as a full address search. You could dive into multi-polygon, polygon, rectangle, selected map, all that stuff you learned in geometry back in high school. I don't know about you, but I didn't do so well in that class. You could do circle and radius. You could search by zip codes, cities, counties, just so many options for you to be able to do searches. Now, the next part here is there's filter buttons that you can quickly focus on in specific categories of properties. There's advanced property detail pages that quickly see all the information that you need in one place. You can even save all of your data within any search, such as values, photos, tags, notes. And then you can access all of that data and search functionally from Foreclosure Radar and plus so much more. So how do you create opportunity in today's market? As I discussed, right now in the current economy, you've got to find ways to get homes for your clients. You've got to find ways to create that inventory, and you've got to really, truly think outside the box. So let's say, skipped ahead a little bit. Let's say that you're with a client, you drive by a home, and they say, hey, I wish that one was for sale. Well, one of the cool things is you can pop on in to Property Radar, go into Explore mode on your tablet, and you can actually click on that property in your current location. It will track you via GPS system, so you can kind of figure out where you are, and it will help search that property. Makes it really simple and easy when you're out on the fly with your client in the car. Makes you look pretty fancy too. It'll give you some really extensive property details. So it shows who the current homeowners are, and in this particular situation it's showing you, hey, this person's $200,000 underwater, and guess what? Not only do you know who they are, as you can see right here under their name, but you could even look them up here under this little owner search, which is really cool via either LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. You can maybe see if they have a profile out there. As you can see up here, you can see that in this particular situation, they're upside down. You can also see what the current valuation is. Now, that's also based on some different models that are online. I encourage you to go in and research that and figure out how accurate that number is. But it's really cool. It gives you all kinds of great information that can really help you know exactly right now what's going on with that property. And then what you can do from there is you could actually reach out and see if you can help not only that homeowner, but your client. Now, how cool is that? That's really a way to find that accurate information that you need right now. So here's another idea. You could get out there and let's say you just had a successful showing on a listing and your client feels great and wants to write an offer, but they kind of are hesitating, right? We get people right now that are kind of on the fence. They're not sure what's going on in that area, not sure how the value is, or a number of other things. So again, you can pop on in there to Explore mode. You can see of how many foreclosures are nearby. You can say, oh, in this particular situation, there's only a couple foreclosures. There are pre-foreclosures. You have 2 bank-owned and 1 in auction. These color codes tell you exactly what is going on in that area. So in this particular situation, you can see not a whole lot of foreclosure or pre-foreclosure activity. It looks like that'd be a pretty good neighborhood. Here's an even better map. This gives you if there are any rentals in that area, right? Some people don't want to live where there are a ton of rentals. So in this particular situation, you can see that, well, no, not really. It's about 70%. It's their primary residence, so not a huge high rental market in this area. So that might be a preference for your particular client. You can also go in and see if it's a good, stable neighborhood. As you can see in this one, it tells you all these different years how long people have been there. And in this particular situation, it looks like, yep, people tend to stay 10 or plus years. As you can see, there's a lot of blue in this area. So now one question that I've had people ask is what the little white ones are, and what that currently means is that they don't have enough data to actually track it, but they are improving that every single day. And as we get better and better data from our city and counties, the information becomes more accurate. So what else? What if they want to know about the shadow inventory, right? What's going on with the shadow inventory? Well, in this situation, you can see that most in this neighborhood really have solid equity, and many of them own their homes free and clear. So you can actually see right here how many of are green or blue. They've got a lot of equity in this particular neighborhood. So what does this actually do for you? It really makes you stand out as the expert in their particular market, and this will really help you seal the deal. People love information, and they love to get information that really helps them make great decisions on whether they're doing the right thing or not. So let's talk about one more idea. How about this one? You could farm for short sales on properties that are not in foreclosure or even delinquent. Now, I know that many times people have gone out there and they've waited days to get the lists from the title companies and a number of other things. It can take a long time to get that information. But right now, you can pop on in here to PropertyRadar, and I'm here to tell you there are short sale opportunities are everywhere. You just really have to know where to look. And truth be told, the rules have really loosened up, and there's way more opportunity. I remember how much harder short sales were back in the day, but it's getting easier and easier. And truth be told, there are still really a lot of underwater homeowners that could use your help. So how can we find this information? Well, again, we can pop on in there. We can directly enter the areas that you work in, or you can even use the map tools to truly kind of hone into a particular neighborhood. So you can enter zip codes and do a zip code search, and then you could actually get closer and closer to determine where, in fact, you can find these short sales in the neighborhoods that you work. You could even look for more higher levels of negative equity. Say you only want to find people that are 100,000 or more upside down. Or to be honest, lately I've been looking for people that may think that they are upside down and really aren't. That's a great resource as well. So you can pop in here. As you can see, you can go through and you can enter how much equity or estimated equity, what their loan balances are, and a number of other things to help you fine-tune specifically which clients you really want to be able to help. You can also go through and make sure the properties are not listed for sale. How helpful would that be? Isn't it frustrating to go out there and think you've got a property, find out it's listed for sale? Well, now you can actually access that information right here, and you can see if that home is currently on the market. It gives you some great information to be able to see, and it gives you quick information and access. So the next thing you can do is you could actually look for properties with only one loan. Or I know recently Chase was offering special incentives, and so you could go in here and you can search for those people that just have one loan, just a Chase loan with no second behind it. And it'd be great to be able to find that information at the drop of a hat and be able to help those homeowners and get out of their short sale loan as well. So another thing you can do is you could actually take that information. You could send it off to Express Copy. You can get a little account set up with them. They've got some great resources and examples. And you can actually go ahead and get a branded postcard, export the list to send yourself, or better yet, just click Route over here and go knock on the doors, right? You could go out there and knock on doors. So you have some options on how to get out there and follow up with those people that are in that situation that you could help. So let's go through another scenario. Let's say that your mom's best friend needs a home, right? This is always a tough one. You want to make sure that you take care of your family and friends, of course. And she needs FHA financing. And I don't know about you, but it seems like every single offer in this current market that's FHA is just getting turned down because they'd rather take a cash offer. And you're frustrated. Your mom keeps calling. A little bit of pressure there, huh? So what if you were able to think outside the MLS and search all the properties, where you could focus on the exact neighborhood that she wants to live in? by using this little polygon search, you could actually search one side of a river or a stream. You could search one side of the freeway if you want to go in and just search a particular block or a couple blocks. It's a great way to go in there with the polygon search and really hone in on that specific neighborhood. You could even narrow it down to homes that only have 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, or by square footage or lot size. So you've got a myriad of options here. You could go by year built, how old the home is, how many stories. I don't know about you, but maybe mom's friend needs to have a single-story home, so you only want to find those, and those seem to be pretty hard lately in the current market. So you can really dig into all these different characteristics to fine-tune the specific homes. I know that I did that a few years ago. I had a couple, actually not a few years ago, last year, I had a couple who only wanted a single-story home, and they wanted to live in a specific, very specific gated community. And I was able to dive in there, choose. There was only about 11 homes in that area that fit their parameters, and I was able to actually send out a letter. I got 4 responses to that letter and ended up listing 2 homes in that neighborhood. So it's completely doable, and it's very realistic. So you could go ahead and choose all those properties in our price range, maybe the ones that are under more than 30% underwater. So again, that gives you an opportunity to go help these homeowners get out of their homes that are underwater. Now, do you think that any of these folks would be willing to sell? Well, I'm here to tell you that this would also give you the opportunity to get that listing. As I mentioned with that particular client, I was able to list 2 homes in that subdivision, and one of them my buyers bought. Very cool. So let's talk about another scenario. How many times have you been at an open house and struggled to get a conversation started? I don't know about you, but those open houses can be somewhat painful when people walk in and they just do not want to talk. They're so afraid you're going to sell them, right? So I can tell you that I actually used this trick many years ago, and it still completely works today. You can go through and do a foreclosure search to get all the foreclosures in that zip code. Now, people say, well, I don't want to talk all about the foreclosures, but people still have that thought in their head that a foreclosure is a great deal, and they want to at least have access to that information. So what if you could do a search in that particular area that you're doing an open house, pull up all the foreclosures in that zip code, and then you could actually print a branded map with an overview report with your contact information and hand out copies. This is a great way to get that conversation going and give people access to information that's going on in their neighborhood. Everybody wants that bargain, right? So you want to make sure that you give them the access to those bargains. Now, I'm here to tell you that 9 times out of 10, people don't actually buy anything that's on that list, but it really is that great way to open up the conversation and determine how you could possibly help their needs. So this is really genuinely a great way to generate leads. I know that I did this in the early 90s by simply, back in the day, printing out the HUD home list of all the hot HUD homes that were for sale. And now we just do a bank repo hot list. You can give that list to them right there at your open house. And many people want access to that information. So here's the deal, really, despite the decline in foreclosures, they still are the best conversation starters. So what realtor in their right mind would advertise foreclosures at an open house? Well, again, in this market, buyers really, truly want someone who can think differently. So what are some ways that you could use those lists of homes that are available in that area to talk to these buyers and really give them some options as to what's available out there? That's really what your buyers want. They want to know that you have access to information and that you have stuff that can really help them get into the home that they want. So there's a known marketing strategy is to let the folks know when you list or sell a neighbor's home. So here's a little strategy you might have been already doing or you could implement. You can actually use foreclosure search in your target market to find the bank-owned properties that have sold within the last week, right? This gives you an indication of what has actually sold in the last week or so. And then you could reach out to neighbors in this area to bring them the inside scoop. It's such a shame, you could have helped, right? So here's the information that you could actually use to go out there and let these homeowners know that maybe it's an option before their home goes to foreclosure, like many of these others, that you're able to help them. Because as you know, many people like to just kind of bury their head in the sand. But if you're able to give them that information, then many times they may be willing to have you help them get out of their current situation. I just think all these little heat maps are so cool, right? It shows you all this stuff where you can see it. Again, as I mentioned, I'm a visual person, so I enjoy that kind of stuff. So, okay, let's move on. So what if you wanted to partner with investors that are purchasing at the courthouse steps to generate more listings and attract more buyers? Wouldn't that be a great resource for you to get out there and get some more business? Well, you can easily find out what's being auctioned when, and you could go to the courthouse to meet the investors in person. Now, I heard somebody talk about at our recent training what a great idea it really is to go out there and hang out at those courthouse steps. One gentleman was telling me how he goes and hangs out there, and then he lets those investors know that he may have a buyer for that particular property. So what if you could go to the courthouse steps, you know what is happening in that area, you could give that investor way more information than he probably already has, and possibly get that listing when he turns around and resells it. How cool would that be? So you can actually see in here how you can go in and you can look at exactly what's being auctioned, the sale date, when it's coming up, and what the published bid is. And you could actually print up that information, have it available for those investors when you get out there. Pretty cool stuff. So you could find those properties that the investors purchased at the auction. It's another option. Look at the trustee's deed on the property details page and get their names. What if you could go to those people who've already bought the property at the auction, who are possibly considering flipping those properties or holding them, and you could go out there and talk to them about listing that home for them. That would be an opportunity as well. Or you say, hey, I've got buyers, which is what I mentioned early in the call. If I could find the inventory, I have over 20 buyers right now that are looking to buy homes. So one thing I've been doing is going out there and trying to find who has the homes, and I've got the buyers. And again, a great resource for you out there. You can also use Route to go visit recently purchased properties and meet that investor in person. Or maybe you get out there and the contractor is there doing the renovations, and you could have a conversation with that contractor. Again, we have this little Route feature where you can make a list of all the homes. It'll give you a little map to go out and check into all those different homes and talk to those investors. Talk to the contractor, find out what you can do to help them or what they need, how many properties they currently have, or what they might have working that you could bring your buyers to. So in the end, Property Data's whole goal is really making that data work for you. So what are some ways that you can access this data and find more creative and inventive ways to find inventory for your buyers? As I mentioned early on, if you're sitting around waiting for that phone to ring and just simply looking at the MLS all day, you're going to really struggle in this current market. The true agents have to get out there and hustle and find ways that they can really do more business and creative ways to generate their own inventory. So I can tell you that in Property Radar, there are a ton of learning resources. I hope that these ones we've gone over have been really helpful for you. But I am here to tell you there's tons of other creative ways, just simply going to PropertyRadar.com, ways to use /realtor. You can hop in there and look at lots of different, and they're constantly adding new use cases every day and ways that can help you build your business. There's also some really cool stuff coming. I saw some sneak previews of it a couple weeks ago that's coming soon to Property Radar, including transfer searches, listing searches, comparables, market reports, and so much more. So pop on over to PropertyRadar.com and you can learn all more about all the exciting stuff that's coming up. And for you participating in today's webinar, they are offering a free 3-day trial. And all you have to do is go to PropertyRadar.com and you can sign up right there and you get a free 3-day trial. The basic subscription is just $49.95 a month, which I'm here to tell you is a screaming deal, because if you just get even one listing lead off of it or a buyer off of it, heck, it's paid for it for years to come. And if you're a California Association of Realtors member, you do receive a 10% discount. and it's on a month-to-month agreement. So what the heck? If you use it for a month and you don't find it works for you, then you can cancel the next month. I can tell you that for me, it's been extraordinary. So if you're a current Foreclosure Radar customer, you can access Property Radar for free until June 15th. And at that point, everything will be switching over. So thank you so much for taking the time today. I hope you've gotten some great information out of this webinar, and look forward to seeing you over there on Property Radar.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much, Marguerite. And just wanted to pause for a second or two and see if there were any questions out there. Go ahead and use the question button on your panel there. It did answer a couple during the webinar. Okay. A question from Brett Chappell. With the features to come, are CMA tools and reports part of that? Brett, I'm not sure what you mean by CMA tools.
I think what he's talking about, Colleen, is the ability to do a comparative market analysis, which is like a comp search that they could print out and give to their clients.
In the comparables module?
Yeah, in the real estate world, we actually usually you can take all those comps and put them into a format that is suitable for the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what he's asking. But in MetroList, in our MLS, we have, if he's in the same MLS, we have the ability to tag all the comps, and then it pulls them together and puts them in a report that we can then generate for the consumer.
Perfect, got that. Brett, I'm not sure about that. I'll have to get back to you on that one after the webinar. Any other questions out there? Alrighty, folks. Well, thank you. We ended earlier today, which is always a good thing to have. And I wish you a great afternoon. And thank you again so much, Marguerite. That was a fantastic webinar. And we look forward to hearing from you again soon. We're signing off now.